Welcome back to the Dreamy Archive. Tonight, we're drifting into something warm and simple. A medieval bakery before dawn, when the whole town is still asleep and the only thing awake is the fire. And I promise this isn't a history lesson. It's a slow, cosy story made to help you soften and let go. If you'd like more of these, you can follow along so the next story finds you easily whenever you need it. And if you feel like it, you can tell me where you're listening from tonight. I love imagining these stories travelling quietly from place to place. All right, find that cosy spot, the one your body likes. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Let your tongue rest gently behind your teeth. Take a slow breath in and a long breath out. Nothing to do tonight, nothing to solve. No one needs anything from you right now. Just listening, just breathing, just resting. And if you're still awake later, that's completely fine. There's no need to force sleep. Just let your body get heavier at its own pace. And when you're ready, we'll go back a long way. We're heading to England around the early 1300s to a small market town with narrow lanes, timber houses, and little gardens tucked behind fences. And here you are. You've just woken up in a room above a bakery. Not a fancy bakery, not a bright shop window like you might picture today. This is older, smaller, darker, but it's warm. Warm in a way that feels like safety. Warm in a way that makes your muscles soften without you asking them to. You're lying on a straw mattress, stuffed tight and scratchy, but not terrible. A wool blanket is pulled up to your chest, heavy enough to feel grounding. The room smells faintly of flour, smoke, and yesterday's bread. And underneath it all, there's that steady sound, a quiet, patient crackle from the oven below, as if the building itself is breathing. Slow, steady, unhurried. You blink in the dimness. The window is only a darker rectangle in the wall. No sunrise yet, just deep, sleepy night. And for a moment, you're not fully sure who you are. Not in a scary way, in a drowsy way. The way your mind floats when it hasn't chosen the day yet. Then you hear it. A gentle step on the stairs. Wood creaking, slow and familiar. Someone is awake downstairs, which means it's time. But there's no rush. In this world, everything moves at the pace of fire. And you don't have to picture any of this perfectly. Just let the feeling be enough. You sit up carefully. The straw shifts underneath you with a soft hiss. Your feet find the floorboards, cool against your skin. And you pause, just long enough to feel the contrast. Cool wood below, warm wool above. You reach for a simple tunic, rough linen, softened by many washes. You pull it on slowly, one arm, then the other, letting your body wake gently. Somewhere below, the oven door opens, a low, hollow sound, like a sigh. Then the scrape of something wooden, a peel sliding in. You step toward the window and press your fingertips to the glass. Cold. A quiet reminder that outside this warm bakery, the night still holds the town in its arms. You breathe in. Flour dust, old wood, a hint of yeast, and smoke that's settled into everything over time. It's not a clean smell. It's a real smell. A lived-in smell. And somehow, it's comforting. You open your door and step into the stairwell. The stairs are narrow, worn in the centre by years of footsteps. As you descend, the warmth grows stronger. Not sharp, just steady, like a blanket made of air. And underneath it, the oven keeps breathing. Slow, steady, unhurried. Downstairs, the bakery is lit by firelight and one small lamp. The lamp is a shallow bowl of oil with a short wick. The flame is small, steady, unhurried. The oven dominates the far wall, a dark, rounded mouth of stone and clay, and inside, a living orange glow. A person stands near the kneading table, the baker, sleeves rolled, hands dusted white, face soft with tiredness, but calm. He looks up when you enter, and his expression warms, just a little. Not big, not excited, just steady recognition. "Morning," he murmurs, even though morning hasn't arrived yet. And you murmur back, "Morning." Here the day begins before the sun does, because the town will wake hungry, and bread can't be hurried. The baker gestures toward the wash basin. You dip your hands into cool water, rub them together, slowly, then dry them on a cloth that smells faintly of smoke and soap. The kneading table is thick wood, scarred with marks, softened at the edges. A dusting of flour makes it look pale, like a winter field. A bowl sits ready, not glass, clay, heavy, practical. It has small chips on the rim, little dents that make it feel honest. You scoop flour, a soft avalanche, watching it fall, silent and light. A pinch of salt, a careful pour of water, and then the yeast mixture, already bubbling gently, like a living thing. The baker doesn't speak much. He doesn't need to. In a bakery at this hour, conversation feels too sharp. Instead, the language is movement. Scoop, pour, fold, press. And underneath everything, the oven keeps breathing, slow, steady, unhurried. You notice the tools. A long wooden peel, smooth where hands have gripped it. A clay jar, a basket, a small knife with a dark handle. Nothing fancy, everything useful. The oven crackles softly. Not loud, just enough to remind you it's there. You begin kneading. At first the dough is sticky, stubborn. It clings to your fingers, like it wants to be held. But you keep going, steady, patient. Press with the heel of your hand, fold it back, turn it, press again. And slowly, so slowly you almost don't notice, the dough changes. it becomes smoother, less wild, more willing, like a mind settling down towards sleep. You keep your breathing calm, in and out, and the kneading becomes a rhythm, a gentle metronome for the body. Outside the bakery walls, the town is still. No carts, no shouting, no bells yet. Just the hush of wind, and now and then, the tiniest sound of a sleeping building shifting. If your mind wanders, that's part of it. You can come back any time to the simple rhythm. Press, fold, turn, and the oven breathing, slow, steady. When the dough is ready, you portion it out. Each piece has a weight that feels satisfying in your hands. You shape them slowly, stretching the surface, turning it under, making smooth domes that hold their form. There's flour on your wrists now, on your sleeves, a pale dust, like you've been handling clouds. You set each loaf on a wooden board, already scratched and floured from yesterday. Nothing here is new, but everything here is used well. The baker checks the loaves with a small nod. Then he opens the oven again. Heat rolls out. Not violent, just thick, like standing close to a hearth on a winter night. One by one, the loaves slide in on the long wooden peel. They disappear into the glow. The oven door closes with a gentle thud. Now there is waiting, and waiting is part of the craft. And if you're still awake, that's perfectly fine. You can keep resting, without trying to get anywhere. Just letting your body sink a little deeper, in and out. And you can let your mind return to that warm place again. Not as a story you need to follow, just as a quiet room you can sit inside. The oven glow, soft and steady. The room lit by firelight and one small lamp. A folded cloth on the table, flour dust resting on the wood, and the gentlest sounds, so small they don't ask for attention. A faint crackle, a soft settling, the quiet hush of warmth moving through air. If a thought appears, you don't have to solve it. You can treat it the way you'd treat a tiny sound in the night. Notice it, and let it fade. And then come back to the simplest rhythm, the oven breathing, slow, steady, unhurried. Now, let your forehead soften again. Let the muscles around your eyes loosen. Let your eyelids feel heavy, as if they're naturally drifting closed. Let your jaw unclench, teeth not touching, tongue resting, shoulders dropping, arms growing warmer, hands relaxing, fingers uncurling. And if you notice any place still holding tension, you don't need to fight it. You can just breathe near it, in and out. And imagine the warmth reaching it, the way warm air reaches your hands when you stand near a fire. Slowly, quietly, without effort. Now, notice your breathing. Not changing it, just noticing. In and out. And if it helps, you can count again, very gently. In, 1, out, 1. In, 2, out, 2. In, 3, out, 3. And if you forget the count, that's a good sign. Forgetting is drifting, and drifting is exactly what we're here for. You can return to an image, the oven mouth glowing, the peel resting nearby, flour dust floating, slow as snow, a loaf cooling on the counter, and then another image, a quiet stairwell, wooden steps worn smooth, the feeling of warmth below and stillness above. And then another image, a bell far away, not calling you, not demanding, just existing, marking time while you rest outside of time. And if your mind starts to wander into tomorrow, you can let tomorrow wait. Tomorrow will arrive on its own. You don't have to carry it there. Tonight, you can set everything down. Like setting down a bundle of wood. Like setting down a bowl. Like setting down your thoughts, one by one, until your hands are empty and your shoulders feel lighter. Now, feel the bed beneath you again, supporting you without asking anything. Let your body be held. Let gravity do the work. Let your legs grow heavy, calves soft, knees loose, thighs relaxed, hips sinking, lower back settling, chest rising and falling, neck resting, and your breathing stays slow, in and out. If a thought comes, let it pass like a customer at the counter. Quiet, brief, unimportant. You don't need to follow it out the door. You can stay here, in the warm room, with the steady fire, with the slow breath. Warm, steady, safe. And if you're still awake, you can simply listen to the quiet world below, to the faint life continuing, and let that be comforting, because it means you don't have to manage anything. Someone else is carrying it for a while. Your only job is to rest, in and out. And the last thing you notice is the gentle steadiness of it all, how the warmth remains, how the rhythm continues, how safe it feels to be warm while the world carries on. While the bread bakes, there are smaller tasks, because a bakery isn't only bread. There are small buns sometimes, made with leftover dough. There are oat cakes. There are simple pies when fruit is in season. Plums, apples, sometimes berries. But most days, it's bread. Bread for labourers, bread for children, bread for tired hands. In this town, bread is not a treat. It's the centre of everything, a quiet anchor, a daily comfort. And when your mind is calm, you notice small things more. The wooden peel, smooth in one place, where hands always grip it. A clay bowl, a chipped rim, honest and heavy. A folded cloth, dusty with flour, softened by washing. Even the embers, glowing, then dimming, then glowing again. Nothing is hurried. Everything repeats, like a lullaby made of work. And you can let that repetition soothe you, the way a steady sound can soften the body. Then, faintly, you hear it. A door latch, a shuffle of feet. Someone is up. The sky behind the window begins to shift, black to deep blue. The bakery feels even cosier in contrast, as if the warmth inside is holding back the night. A soft knock at the door, 3 gentle taps. The baker doesn't jump. He expected it. He always does. Cold air slips in when he opens the door, crisp and clean. A figure stands there, wrapped in a cloak. A woman, hair covered, hands red from cold. She speaks quietly, like she's afraid of breaking the morning. "Have you anything ready?" "Soon," the baker says, kind but firm. She nods, because she understands. Fire decides the schedule. She waits just inside the doorway, rubbing her hands together. Her eyes drift toward the oven glow, as if it's comfort all on its own. And for a moment, no one speaks. Just 3 people sharing warmth. And you can feel that moment, the way the cold stays near the door, and the warmth stays near the oven. 2 worlds touching, without rushing into each other. If you like, you can imagine the warm air moving slowly, like a gentle tide, past the counter, past the boards, up along the walls. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden, just warmth, finding its places. The baker checks the oven. The door opens. Warmth pours out again. He slides the peel under the first loaf and draws it out. The crust is browned, not perfectly even. Nothing is perfect, but beautiful. The smell hits the room like a soft wave. Toasted grain, a hint of smoke, something deep and alive. The woman inhales, and her shoulders drop, as if the smell itself said, "You're okay." You set the loaf on the counter, a quiet, solid sound on wood. The woman counts coins into the baker's palm, slowly, carefully. No one rushes her. She tucks the loaf into cloth and murmurs, "Bless you." And then she steps back into the cold. The door closes. The warmth remains. Everything is all right. There is warmth. There is bread. There is time. As more loaves bake, you think about how the town runs on small routines like this. People rise early because daylight is precious. Work happens when the sun allows it. And in winter, warmth becomes a kind of wealth. A bakery is more than a shop. It's a place where you can stand for a moment and thaw, where you can exchange a few coins for something reliable. And reliability is one of the most calming things in the world. You can imagine the town outside. Quiet lanes, shuttered windows, thin chimney smoke, the cold sitting on the stones. And then you imagine the bakery, a pocket of light, a slow orange glow, and your mind can drift gently between them. Cold, warm, dark, gold. Outside, inside. And each time, you can choose warmth again. Another knock comes later, a little heavier. A man enters, stamping his boots. He smells like damp wool and early labour. Behind him is a child, sleepy-eyed, holding his sleeve. The child's gaze locks onto the loaves like their treasure. The man buys one loaf, then, after a beat, tears off a small piece and hands it to the child. The child eats slowly, as if trying to make it last forever. Then they leave. Cold air rushes in, then out, like the world taking a breath. And inside, the oven keeps breathing, slow, steady, unhurried. At one point, the baker nods toward you. "Fetch more kindling," he murmurs. So you wrap a cloak around your shoulders and step outside. The cold meets you immediately. Clean, sharp, honest. Your breath appears in pale clouds. Cobblestones are damp, with a touch of frost. The sky is a soft grey blue. You walk to the woodpile behind the bakery. The ground is hard with frost. The air smells like wet earth and distant smoke from other hearths waking up. You gather small pieces of wood. They're rough in your hands. You like the texture. It makes you feel present. Rough wood, cold air, soft breath, in and out. You don't have to think about anything at all, just the feel of the kindling, the way it sits in your hands, solid, certain, and the quiet outside, like the whole town is still half dreaming. A thin thread of smoke from a chimney, a faint light behind shutters. Then you turn back and return to the bakery, and the warmth wraps around you again. Warmth, firelight, soft voices. Everything is slow. Everything is safe. Near sunrise, an older man arrives. He moves carefully, like his joints argue with him. He doesn't come straight to the counter. He comes toward the oven first, not too close, just near enough to feel it. He holds his hands out, palms toward the heat, and closes his eyes. The baker doesn't shoo him. No one does. Because everyone knows, sometimes warmth is the only medicine you can afford. And you can imagine that warmth, not as something you do, but as something that simply arrives. Touching the fingers, then the palms, then the wrists. Softening the hands, softening the shoulders, like a quiet permission to let go, just a little more. The old man opens his eyes slowly. He buys a small loaf, not much, just enough. And before he leaves, he looks at you and says quietly, Smells like a good day. You nod, and even if you don't fully know what that means, it feels like a blessing. Now the bakery moves like a heartbeat. Loaves out, loaves in, cloth rustling, coins clinking softly, the peel scraping, bread knocking gently against wood, and always the smell, settling into you, softening you from the inside. At some point, the baker glances at you and murmurs, "If you start talking to the dough, I'll pretend not to hear." It's a small joke, dry, soft around the edges, and you let out a quiet breath of laughter, barely a sound. Because here, even humour is quiet. After the busiest part passes, you sweep flour toward the corner again. Slow, repetitive, soothing. Sweep and pause. Sweep and pause. The broom whispers across the wood, a soft sound, like wind through dry grass. And you can let your mind follow the motion, back and forth, back and forth. If a thought comes, you don't have to chase it. You can let it pass. Quiet, brief, unimportant, and return to the simple rhythm. Sweep, pause. Sweep, pause. Eventually, the counter is crowded with loaves. The room feels golden with it. The baker wipes his forehead with his sleeve, flour streaking across his skin, and he looks almost amused. "Looks like we survived," he murmurs. And you understand. He doesn't mean danger. He means the work, the long hours, the heat, the careful effort. You survived the night and made something good. Now comes the quieter part. Wiping the table, washing the bowl, stacking the boards. The bakery begins to look like itself again, less busy, more settled. The baker banks the fire, not extinguishing it, just calming it, so it will be easy to wake again later. And you can watch the embers change, from bright to soft, from eager to calm. A fire that doesn't end, it simply rests. And maybe your body can do the same. Not switching off all at once, just settling, little by little. Shoulders softer, hands looser, breath slower, in and out. The baker nods toward the stairs. "Go on," he says gently. "Rest while you can." And you feel grateful, not in a big way, just in a quiet way, the way a body feels when it's finally allowed to soften. You climb the narrow steps. Each one creaks, friendly, familiar. Upstairs, the room is dim but lighter than before. Morning is arriving, but you're not going with it. You're going the other direction, toward sleep. You sit on the edge of the straw mattress. The blanket is still there, waiting, patient. You take off your cloak, fold it, set it aside. Slow movements, gentle movements, nothing abrupt. Then you lie down again. The straw shifts, the wool settles. Your body sinks into the shape it's been looking for all night. From below, you can still hear the bakery, fainter now, a muffled sound of life continuing. And it's comforting. because it means you don't have to hold the world up. Someone else is carrying it for a while. You pull the blanket up to your chest, warm, heavy, safe. Take a slow breath in and a long breath out. Your hands unclench, your shoulders drop, your face smooths, and your mind can drift through small images. The oven glow, the flour dust in firelight, the warmth in your palms, the smell of bread. Nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to do. Just warmth, just steadiness, just rest. And if you're still awake, that's okay. You don't have to force sleep. You can simply rest. Let your thoughts come and go, like footsteps on the stairs below, quiet, distant, already passing. Your breathing slows, in and out. The oven glow, soft, steady. Flour dust, floating in firelight. The quiet bell in the distance, not demanding anything, just marking time. And you can let each image drift through, then fade, then return, like a gentle tide. Warm, steady, safe. Let your forehead smooth. Let your eyes rest heavy. Let your jaw loosen. Your shoulders soften. Your arms feel warm. Your hands feel loose. Your chest rises and falls. Your belly settles. Your legs grow heavy. Your feet relax. And you don't have to do it perfectly. Just notice, softening, little by little. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to fix. You can just rest here, warm, safe, and unhurried. Let your breathing stay slow, in and out. And you can return to the bakery, not as a story you have to follow, just as a place your mind can drift through. The oven glow, soft, steady, the quiet crackle, then stillness. A warm room holding the night. If a thought passes through, you don't have to pick it up. You can let it move by, like a customer at the counter. Quiet, brief, already leaving. And you stay here, breathing in and out. Now let your forehead smooth. Let your eyes feel heavy, as if they're sinking gently into their place. Let your jaw loosen, shoulders soft, arms warm, hands relaxed, fingers unclenched. And if your mind wanders, that's fine. You can always come back to one simple thing: the oven breathing, slow, steady, unhurried. Imagine the warmth moving through the bakery, touching the stone near the oven mouth, touching the wooden table, touching the folded cloth. Everything calm, everything simple. And now imagine that same warmth moving through you. Not something you force, just something you allow. A soft heaviness in your chest, a quiet settling in your belly, a gentle weight in your legs. Your body knows what to do. It can drift without effort, warm, steady, safe. And you don't have to picture it clearly. A glow, a hush, a small sound of bread cooling somewhere, a faint bell in the distance. Nothing demanding anything from you, just time passing, and you resting inside it, in and out. If you'd like, you can count slowly with your breath. In, 1. Out, 1. In, 2. Out, 2. In, 3. Out, 3. Only as far as you want. And if you lose the count, it doesn't matter. Losing it is a kind of drifting. And drifting is exactly what we're doing. Now feel the bed beneath you, supporting you, without asking anything back. The blanket resting on you, heavy in the best way, as if it's holding you down gently, so you don't have to hold yourself together. And somewhere far below, the world continues. Doors opening, footsteps, morning arriving. But you don't have to join it. Not yet. Not tonight. You're allowed to rest. And the bakery stays warm. The oven glow stays steady. The air stays soft. The flour dust stays floating. And your breathing stays slow. In and out. Now let your thoughts become quiet. Not by pushing them away, just by not feeding them. If one appears, you can notice it and let it fade, like steam disappearing into colder air. And when it fades, there's only warmth again, steady, unhurried, and you can drift deeper and deeper. Good night.